Hello. Um, Keeping ourselves in the right mind, you know, righteous thinking. It doesn't mean that you are righteous, it just means that you are steadfast in Christ and you are steadfast in that right mind, and that right mind is the singularity. It's really not a right to left. It's just the one mind, the focus, the only thing, and focusing on the Father, trusting only in the Father, because the bombardment of communication that's going on and the frequencies from everybody casting their projection from their perceptions, and it's all well to have a perception, but the perception is tainted first and foremost. Even what we see is turned upside down right here, which means it's been interfered with and tampered with, and it's not the truth. So what we're seeing is not the truth. So this is where you have to pray, and we don't pray in a sense of close your eyes, hold hands, Father, Father. There's nothing wrong with that. Chew the meat, throw away the bones. We can utilize all types of prayer. The main prayer within us is to keep our right mind, is to be in constant prayer. If you're steadfast in the Father and His attributes are shining and the light is His and His wisdom, then we are in prayer every time we speak, and we need not be concerned about thoughts, lies, accusations, fears, doubts, and all of those things from the enemy that is right within us, this flesh. It's just a vessel. It's only a vessel. The light that's in this vessel is untainted and very powerful. So yeah, it's important that as we move through this process to actually be able to stand firm in the Father, no matter what projections or perceptions or frequencies, whether it's from the top of the pyramid to the Luciferian spirit or the seductive spirit that's out there, that tries to seduce people into an ideology, a dogmatic group or whatever, whether it's from that spirit or the spirit of allness, the source, the essence, the pure essence of the Father and His attributes, unconditional, no conditions. So it's hard to understand when, as third density vessels, it's hard to be around certain things, and the only reason why it's difficult to be around maybe certain discussions, if you're resonating with the discussion and you're trying to throw away the bones in the discussion, it's hard to stand firm and not adopt the things that you may be sensing or resonating with that are causing your frequency to be shifted. And this is where I'm saying that we should not be afraid. This vessel was never in control for me. The Father has always placed things in front of me, and whether the vessels around me understand the truth within themselves or the true Father, and they want to take what the Father does from me, then they are taking the glory. They are taking the Father's glory. Not one of these vessels that we are all obtained and in right now has the power to take His glory. So we've all got to really spiritually search within ourselves and forget about everything that's going on around us sometimes, to understand the true gratitude that the Father holds for us and we hold for Him. And that true gratitude is that He does everything in His attributes. Outside of them attributes, it's the vessel. You know, I often think of whether you should help or not. So today I want to say, clear your shelf and be prepared to put all these new things up on the shelf of, I would call it the shelf of patience. It's the spirit of patience that holds these things, and then the Father will bring it forward in a confirmation and a synchronicity for you to actually understand your own knowing now. No one can tell you what to know. No one can tell you. People can try and teach you all day from their perspective of who they are and what they know to be true. And I don't dispute anybody's truth, because the Father in me, His unconditional mercy, forgiveness, and all those attributes have no judgment in it. So you don't have to dispute other people's truths. So you can hear everything that's going on around you and still be okay with no judgment in your heart. But this video that I'm making today is just to be very aware that we can stand in a place that's unmovable until we know the truth, and bridle the tongue and captivating the thoughts. The only reason why we need to do that is because there's a little enemy that dwells in this vessel, and he has the control, the ego. He is the control. He is fear itself, pride, all of the things of this vessel and this carnal mind actually have encapsulated us in. And as we come to the truth, we free ourselves from this vessel. As we have more control and mastery over the vessel, this thing has to sit in the back seat. It cannot be denied. It will sit in the back seat, and it will keep its mouth closed and keep its thoughts to itself. And sometimes one foot in the sand, one foot in the ocean. Sometimes in your control, because you have the Father and His spiritual wisdom and power. With your control, you can bring these things forth, because some people that are running specifically off ego and pride, you can utilize and say, okay, I'm going to let you off the chain, ego and pride. And your ego and pride can tether and talk. So your ego and pride can argue with someone else. It can talk to their ego and pride. And you can utilize this. In mastery, you can utilize this. It's the way. It's not succumbing to it. It's very much understanding that this is what I'm up against. And then you also get the option and the choice to stand firm and walk away, or move away from discussions, or there's lots of things going on in the world where we're watching videos and we're seeing negative things, and as those negative things come into our eyes, it makes us feel a little angry, a little frustrated. What can I do? What can I do? We have to try and stand firm in the Father's attributes as if we already know, if we already don't. And that practice of, I already know, I'm an eternal being, nothing can move me from my address. As we practice thinking and feeling the I ams, then we can we get closer and closer to the self-mastery. I don't like the word mastery, but it's a defined, a human defined word that it can be looked at as overpowering, But when you have self-mastery, then you've overpowered yourself. And you are the only one that matters right now. We can't let anyone else overpower us. And the other thing is we tend to idol and worship easily, really easily, because when you're in this place of not knowing, which is the Father, because when you don't know nothing, He grants you the wisdom to know all things. When you're in this place of not knowing, it's quite daunting. It's quite daunting because you feel that you're meant to know something, and that's where you start to understand and recognize the ego in you wants to know something. It wants to have something for itself. It wants to take the glory away from the Spirit, the Father, and obtain it, known it for itself. And this is where it's dangerous for us all. So stay in prayer and steadfast, and speak yourself back into a firm place. Speak yourself back into a firm place. And if you don't have to worry about anything that's going on around you once you're in that firm place, because at the end of this game, it's going to be very individual, of all of us individually standing in an individual, separate, firm place that is the Father's. That's the only connection of this, where we stand, is it's going to be the Father's singularity, His Spirit, and we are going to feel like we're disconnecting from each other. But as we sit in His unconditional love and disconnect and go inwards and start to master and understand exactly what this vessel is and where our spirit resides and where it comes from, as we get to this place, we will have integrated with each other in spirit, not flesh, in spirit, but we will be steadfast in our firm flesh. You cannot move me. There's no lie, accusation, or frequency that can move me out of this firm place where the Father resides, where it is absolute, it's truth, it's a knowing. And that's why we have the shelf, so that when it comes down, it resonates, and the confirmations move into our heart, our spiritual heart, which holds all wisdom of the Father and the Source Creator. It moves into our heart, and then we can remember by saying that resonating frequency that I am just feeling right now is me remembering I'd already known it. It was already a part of me. That person can never teach you. That group can never teach you. The Christ Spirit, the Counselor Himself, can't even teach you. He says, I'm not your teacher. What He's saying is, I am you. You are me, I am you. Father in me, Father in you. He is saying, you already know all of this. His assistance is worthy. His counsel is worthy. His the attributes that He shares and holds is worthy. But at the end of the day, He's telling you that you already know this, and you're only going to bring it forth and uncover it from within yourself as a remembrance, and now you know who you are. So you've taken it off the shelf. Well, the Father has taken it off the shelf and said, do you remember this? And you say, yes. Yes, I remember this, which now makes it yours. So that's the memory. Hello.
Hey, brother. Just came to get your dishes.
I do.
Awesome.
There's a smoke.
Are you doing a video?
I am.
Hello. There we go.
So, hopefully that's not too confusing. It's just what's coming in and what's moving out. It's just stand firm within yourself. Know that the Father always has a perfect purpose for you to understand certain things, and know that you don't need anything. Your eternal address is already there. It's already there. What could you possibly need? Death, where is your sting? What could you possibly happen to you if you're already there? So that's the prayer, the internal, eternal prayer that we have. And we get to this, we can pray this in many different ways. You know, you can write something out, you can read something, you can do some energy work, you can meditate, you can go for a jog, whichever way that it assists in standing in the attributes firm of the Father's attributes, whichever way that exists. It's only a perception if I say no, that's wrong. I mean, we have no idea what's right and wrong, and we are finding that fast. Everything made good, or everything labeled good, had been manipulated and labeled bad, or turned upside down. And the perception, that's why he says, seat yourself on a throne of perception, which means over all perceptions. 7 billion perceptions can't move me off and out of this place of the Father, because I understand this vessel. I understand it, what it tries to do here, to try and taint this. And you cannot be moved when you know this. And then a lot of people out there are saying, well, I don't know this. I haven't been shown by the Father. He hasn't given me a name. And we just don't realize that if we go to that quiet, secret place in the Father, we know a lot more than what we think, because of how tainted our thoughts can be to manipulating us into thinking we know what knowing is. We don't. Knowing nothing. We will come to this, and you'd be surprised of what you actually truly know about yourself from the information, which is just information. Take it with a grain of salt, put it on the shelf. Now the resonating frequency and the confirmation, the connections that we feel spiritually with each other, and we know they're unconditional, they're merciful. They're in all of the attributes of the Father, which is an eternal aspect, forever. So we know that, and this is why being an observer is very important as well, because you actually have that right to observe. That is the way. As you sit back and observe and don't interact, don't interfere, just observe, you tend to quieten in this process. It can take years, it can take months, it depends on who you are. No judgment. Everybody will come to the truth. It will be revealed within you the same way it will be revealed in me. But we slowly get into this place. Damn it, I lost it. Wasn't meant to be said. So take time out. Don't be afraid of losing things. The Father on your journey, if you were to sit here now in this present space, in this place right now, in this moment, you can only have gratitude from all the bad and all the good, because you are who you are. You are well informed. Even if you're tapping into Christ 5 minutes a day, you're 5 minutes well informed. The truth is being revealed 5 minutes within you at most points, and then we want to step off the linear backdrop. And Sister Shannon was saying, the ascension and the linear, there is some truth to the cross. There's all truth to it in all different perceptions and views, but the linear, at some point in your ascension, you will hit, and that's when that's when it's revealed. Just the same as this shit goes down in the end and it crosses over into a non-return, the truth gets revealed. Why? Because here comes the lie, linear. Here comes ascension, the truth, the eternal address, the eternal Father. As it moves up, we don't have any idea. Derek's talked about this with the fish as it crosses over, and how things to look good and bad, and then it crosses over and it's totally the opposite to what we think. Well, as the lie moves through and the eternal ascension moves up, and that is further away from the lie right now, so it's okay, but as it hits and it mingles with the lie and the truth at the same time, what happens to your mind and heart? You start to examine, you start to see the lie. It's hitting you in the face. Oh my God, it's worse than I thought. As it hits, it mingles and entangles, and then it awakens your heart and your spiritual mind into an understanding of true good and bad. And it ain't what we think. And we have to go through this process as the lie hits the truth for us to actually examine and point out what the lie truly is. And then what that does, on the other hand, is it gets you to understand who you truly are. And that's the point. The lie can't do anything to you. But as it mingles, we are going to see the truth in it more and more as it tries to congeal and constrict. The lie tries to congeal and constrict within the truth. The truth only can be revealed harder and faster. See, if the lie was way over here and the truth was here, what would we wouldn't know the lie. We wouldn't even see it. We wouldn't feel it. We'd just be on our ascension path, and we would go, what would we be able to determine the difference between in duality if we didn't understand it? How would we know what love is if we were always in it and didn't feel what hate was? These are the keys to trying to understand how to have that right way of thinking, which is the Father's way of thinking, which is what the Spirit and our counsel of the great Christ Spirit, the truth, is counseling us every day. So stand in that place, whether you know you are or not, whether who you know you are or not. Even wipe away that old graven image of who you think you are right now. Wipe away who I am. All right, I'm nothing. Go back to the observation point and don't interfere with anything. And that's when the Father will bring a blessing down and a miracle down, and he will bring it down within you. Only you, first and foremost, no one else. So this is 20 minutes long, and I didn't want to go too long. And that's what it comes down to at the end of this, is you. You're in the birth canal. Do you want to know how narrow it is? It's you. Forget about perceptions, other people's perceptions. It's tainted. The truth that they gather out of their perception, great. Father, your will be done in them, not mine. I do not care, but all I do care for is that I have compassion, mercy, forgiveness, but don't try and interfere with my sovereignty either. Nothing can control you. Nothing can control me. Not when you're standing in that steadfast place of the right mind in the Father, in the essence, and the truth. And the truth is, if you just don't know the answer to the truth yet, then the spirit of patience starts to reside in and says, there's a purpose, and a perfect purpose that you don't know. Your names, all this, whether you've lived past lives, all that. It's like rest your heart. The perfect purpose will bring through the miracle of you coming to an understanding and a remembrance of what you already were, are, and is. And then you will have an understanding of knowing nothing, but knowing all things. And that's the wisdom that we stand in. I stand with you, brothers and sisters, in all of this as well. And there is no, and glory to the Father. He really looks out for our journeys, whether how bad we think they are or we think it is. Beautiful, learned moments have occurred, and spiritual rising, spiritual uplifting events and knowings and remembrances that have occurred no matter what you've gone through. So endure this, understand it, steadfast in the truth, step back, become the observer, and be patient and merciful and compassionate towards yourself and on yourself, so you can learn what it truly means, who it truly is from, and then you can extend that compassion and extend that to others in your life that are around you. And you will know it's not manipulative. You'll know you're not trying to mold someone into your belief of what you know to be true, because the Father's unconditional love and compassion doesn't interfere with the sovereignty and the Father's will in them. And then all of a sudden you'll get this cycle with the people that are in the right mind and right place. You'll have this cycle that just automatically extends his attributes only and not your own vessel. It ain't long and we're going to be out of this, you know. Sometimes you just want to click your finger and go poof back into particles, and what's left is your light and your allness, the source within you. Will be integrated nakedness in nakedness. Come on, look at the red letters, read Christ's parables, were as gentle as what they were, so that anyone and every perception could come to the same truth eventually. That's why it was parabologic. That's why it means many, many, many things. You know, the more things it can mean, the more perceptions it can grab and help the Father to integrate us back into our spiritual oneness of him, who you truly are. Hope that makes sense. But you have a lovely day. I've been talking too long now, and I love you guys. And yeah, steadfast, step back, you know, don't get involved, don't interfere. Ask the Father, what's your will in this, Father, and let his attributes in the Spirit translate to the hearts in spirit. Say it. You don't even have to say or see or hear anything. You can just know the translation is occurring without you, without interference of the flesh, without interference of perception, without interference of the carnal mind. And that's what we're practicing to learn to walk by day. And Father is great. He is so loving and merciful. He always has something for you that is of good nutrients, that is good food, that is the water of life. He always has that there for you. He doesn't hand you a serpent. So if you're getting fed serpents, recheck where you're getting your spiritual information, your spiritual discernment, and where your spiritual heart is residing, because he doesn't hand you serpents. It's coming. We're getting to the ends of this, so I just wanted to say that. And yeah, shout out to a few videos that help us to understand these things in a better way. Is Shannon's channel, I believe, Divinity School. She's got some good things as well about just lots. She does a lot of reading and a lot of energy work, and just has a good sense of how to ground yourself, and she does it in real time with you as well, which is what I want to start practicing, is getting in real time, practicing with each other and not being afraid to be vulnerable, and make, if we feel that we're making mistakes, which there are no such thing in the Father, but if we feel we're making mistakes, to be vulnerable and reset in the moment and go, forgive me for that, this something that I need to work on, or I need to learn, you know, and just move through in that way, because this is what's going to be healing, but this is what's going to help us stand firm when shit hits the fan, and it will. This vessel, it attracts shit, and I say shit in a broad enemy aspect way. So yeah, they're two good channels there, and I'm going to leave some links. I've got Emily has got a good channel as well that she discusses just the Father's attributes, and just some of the things that can help you move, help your spiritual heart. Watch them, don't watch them, go inwards, don't go inwards. All of it is perfect, and all of it has perfect purpose for you. So relax, rest your heart, know that the Father is with you, and his will be done. It will be done. So let's get used to what that will is, and being naked with each other in spirit really truly is. And let's integrate and talk to each other in the spiritual realms. Much love, family.